What's up, guys? It's Matt here with Tanks Lawn Maintenance. It's 7:55 p.m. Thursday evening, June the 20th, 2024, year of our Lord. And dude, it's hot as hell out here. It's 94 degrees and it's damn near 8 o'clock. Man, I don't know what I'm gonna do next month and in August. I reckon I'm just gonna die. That's what I ask my employee just about every day. It'd be hot as hell out here, and I'm like, dude, what we gonna do when it hits 100? And that's what he says. I guess we just gonna die. I don't know. But anyway, man, I want to talk to y'all about the past 2 weeks that I have had. It has been an extremely rough 2 weeks for me and my business. I started off 2 weeks ago tomorrow. My wife, sorry guys, yeah, sorry about that. I'm tired, I'm sleepy. I've just been going and going and going all day, even though I haven't really gotten anything accomplished. It started 2 weeks ago from tomorrow. My wife and me and my daughter's boyfriend were doing an extremely large landscaping project. It was a bush job, tree pruning job, and cleanup all in one. And it took us a solid 8 hours to do it. But it wasn't the job that was so bad. Don't get me wrong, I trimmed bushes and trees for 8 solid hours while my wife and daughter's boyfriend blew leaves and drug limbs to the truck. But I was on a hedge trimmer and a saw the entire 8 hours. I mean, it was a lot. It was a whole lot. But we charged for it. I mean, it was well worth our time. I'll say that about it. And I don't mind doing it when it's like that, man. When there's a lot of money involved. But it started then, man, and you know, halfway through the day, I got stung by 2 hornets within about 5 minutes of each other. And I don't know if you've ever been stung by a doggone hornet or not, but I'm gonna tell you something, man. That is a different kind of pain. That is a different kind of pain, and it hurt. And it nearly knocked me out, and I was sore for several days after I got stung by them. And I don't wish that on anybody, man. I've got a pretty high tolerance for pain. I can take a lot, but that one almost took me out. I ain't gonna lie. But that happened, and that week, we had four customers that called us and canceled service for the week because 2 of them, you know, we got rain right after we cut their grass the time previous to that. We got rain the previous mow, right after the previous mow, and they cut their sprinklers off, of course, and they forgot them to cut back on. Well, it was up in the high 90s all week and no rain after that, and the Bermuda was basically all but burnt up. And they just called me and they said, hey, our grass is not looking good at all. It's very crispy. It's my fault. I didn't cut the sprinkler back on, and I do apologize, but could you skip service this week? And I promise this won't happen again. And I'm not that guy that's going to lose my mind over something like that, as long as they're honest with me, you know. But if you just start blowing smoke up my tail, then yeah, I got a problem with that. But they were honest with me about it. Man, that sun's still in my face. But they were honest with me about it, and so I cut them some slack, you know. I left the lawn alone, and they reached back out to me and told me that they were ready to be cut again, so we got them taken care of this week. But another customer is a new customer that we picked up. He hasn't had his lawn mowed all year long, and we actually picked him up via door hangers, and he called me and he said, hey man, I need you to go ahead and get my grass taken care of at your convenience, you know. But the grass was probably 6-7 inches high, which is extremely high for Bermuda grass, and we chopped it down to 2 inches, man, and the grass, it basically looked dormant, because you know, when you've got grass growing that high, it's only going to be green on the tips of the stems when it comes to Bermuda. So when we chopped it down, that stuff, I mean, it just basically dried out and closed down for a week or two. And he told me, he said, hey, listen, I know that you had planned on coming tomorrow, but my grass is still brown. It has not grown anymore, and I'm still watering it, and I know it's gonna come back, and there's nothing you did. It's my fault for letting it get that high, and I'm gonna hold off one more week if it's okay with you. And I wasn't gonna waste the customer's money. He was supposed to get cut this week, and he was supposed to get cut last week again, and moved it forward to this week, and same thing, you know, it was still kind of brown. And I actually have a lawn in the neighborhood, and he asked me if I could hold off one more week, and I said, yeah, that's fine. I'm sure it's still brown, and I rode past it. You know, it's starting to green up, but it still hasn't done anything. So that's the third one. And then the fourth one is a customer pulling some shenanigans. We've been cutting this grass on 2 inches since March, and I told my helper, you know, cut it on 2 inches, and he did. I went behind him, checked it, everything looked nice, and the following week when we went to go out, I texted her, told her, you know, make sure your gate's unlocked, we're coming in the morning, this, that, and the other. She texted me back and said, hey, the guy that cut my front yard last week scalped it, and my husband wants to let it grow. I said, listen, we cut your grass on 2 inches every single time we come out. I said, that mower deck does not move off of 2 inches. So I know he didn't scalp it, for one. And for two, I actually went behind him and checked, and it looked great. He did a good job. So it's not the customer's fault, so don't pin it on him. I said, if you're having problems, if there's a problem with service, or you're not happy with the day, or you're just tight for money this week, just say so. Don't blame it on my helper. And she said, well, my husband said it looked like it was cut super low. And I said, well, it wasn't cut super low. I said, but we'll hold off. And she said, okay, thank you. And I don't like that, man. When I know good and well we didn't do anything wrong, I'm going to stand up for my employees if I know they didn't do anything wrong. But I just don't like that, man. And I've actually had a problem with this customer one time before. It was last year. They signed up for year-round service, and come December, she decided not to pay her bill, so I discontinued service and decided I wasn't going back out there until she paid the bill. And you know, when I send out an invoice, it is due on receipt. It's not net 30. It's not pay a week later. You're supposed to pay it time you get it, or as soon as you get the chance, you know, by the end of the day. And if I don't get it that day, I have it set up to where an automatic remind goes out 24 hours after I send the original invoice. And if I don't get payment then, a week after the service, 7 days to the hour after I send that original invoice, it sends out another remind. And once that third remind goes out, that's it. You can't send out anymore. So we did all that, never got paid, so I just discontinued service. March rolls around, I told her, I said, well, since year-round service didn't work out, I said, we can always do pay-as-you-go if you're willing to try that this year. She said, sure, sounds great. Well, here we go again. And they did this last summer too. About halfway through the summer, they got tight on money and decided to discontinue service for about a month. And then they expected me to come out there and cut the grass again for the same price that it had been, even though it was overgrown. I mean, it doesn't work like that. You got to pay me for my time. And they were upset about it, but they paid what I was asking. Well, that was yard number 4 that didn't get cut. So, had that happen, all that happened last week. This week, you know, I've been rocking solo this week. Tuesday, Mama Tank went out and helped me this week. My employee, he's on vacation. They've had a vacation. His entire family had a vacation bought and paid for well before he started working for me. So I wasn't gonna rob him of that. And besides, I have enough. I'm quick enough that I can get everything I've got done and keep it on schedule by myself. And I have help. That way I can have time to do things in the afternoons and the evenings with my family. But I don't necessarily need it. But Tuesday, Mama Tank rode with me because Tuesday, when I'm in Mount Vintage, that golf course community, that is my longest day. She was with me. Had zero problems Tuesday at all until Tuesday evening. And I told y'all about what happened with that certain customer. I'm not going to mention what happened because I don't know who sees my videos, and I'm trying not to put out a whole bunch of negative stuff on my channel because I don't, like I said, I don't know who sees it, and I don't want people to see that I'm putting business out there, you know, business issues or anything like that. I just don't want to put that kind of stuff out here on YouTube. It's just not good. It's unprofessional. But so that video that I put out, I deleted that video. I took it down. And but those of you that saw that video, you know what happened there. I lost that customer, and there was another customer that expected me to do some things for free. I lost that customer. So that's 2 in 1 week, or 2 in 1 day right there. The next day, had a customer, I want to say it was Monday, right before I started my route Monday, I sent out texts to 2 different customers that I service on Fridays, and it's the only 2 customers that I service on Fridays. And I told them, I said, just want to give you a heads up, I can no longer schedule a mowing route on Friday. I said there will no longer be any scheduled maintenance on Fridays. If I do anything on Fridays, it's going to be landscaping jobs and that kind of thing. I said I have to leave an opening throughout the week for landscaping jobs, and if it rains, I have to have a day and I can push the landscaping jobs back a week. I'm trying to make it where I'm not working on Saturdays unless I absolutely have to. And I know a lot of you work on Saturdays, some of you work on Sundays, but that's not me. That's not me. I started my business because I wanted freedom, and if I'm working 6 or 7 days a week, in my opinion, that's not freedom. And I want to have time to spend with my family. I'm not knocking anybody for how they run their business. You run it the way you want it. It's your business, and I commend you for doing things the way you want to do. But me personally, that's just the way I have my business set up. Well, the 2 customers that I texted, one of them texted me back immediately and said, okay, that's no problem at all, and I completely understand. And I think it's very smart. The next one texted me back yesterday evening, and this guy, he dropped me, and I really hated that, man, because I like this guy. He's a super nice, I mean, he's just a sweet old man. He really is. He's an Army chaplain that lives here in Evans, Georgia. He does a lot of work in Dublin, Georgia. But he's an Army chaplain, an ordained minister. He's a pastor of a church, and does a lot of missionary work in Dublin, Georgia. And me and him, you know, we just sit back and talk about the Lord from time to time. And you know, I still look at him as somebody I can call and talk to when I need to talk about God, or if I have any questions. You know, he's a man of faith, and I think that faithful people, men of faith, need to lean on each other. And so I have absolutely no hard feelings for this guy whatsoever. I just hate that he had to drop me, and I understand why he had to drop me. What it is he's got a very strict HOA, and they require all the residents in the neighborhood to have their grass mowed on the exact same day of the week, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. But, you know, when you move into subdivisions like that, you sign up for it. So, it is what it is, man. And all of his neighbors, their stuff gets mowed on Fridays. And I'm the only oddball in that neighborhood. He's the only property I have in that neighborhood. So he had to drop me, and he said, "But don't hesitate to swing by, and we can just hang out and shoot the breeze." And I really do appreciate everything you've done for me. You've done an amazing job, and it stinks. He said it stinks because I really don't like the quality that the other landscapers are putting out. So I would just have to hop back in the lawn and do things on my own. And he said it's no big deal to him because he actually enjoys working in the lawn. He has to he has to schedule things around it so he can do it on Fridays, and he doesn't like doing that, so that's why he hired me. But it is what it is, man. And he told me, he said, "I understand your business decision. You've got to do what you've got to do to work out best for you and your business and your family." So no hard feelings at all. But that one sucked, man. I hated to lose that one. That was a high ticket weekly property. And but it is what it is, man. These landscaping jobs that I've been picking up on Fridays, you know, they're worth probably 3 years worth of mowing for these properties that I'm servicing. And so I'd be a fool not to do this. I really would. But anyway, that happened the past 2 days. So that's 3 customers that I lost in 2 days. Tuesday and Wednesday. And this morning, I was waiting on Mama Tank to get back with the car because the trailer was actually hooked up to my truck. I wanted to have it hooked up to the truck while I dropped the axle. That way the front would have a stable. I live on top of a hill, and everything is pointing downhill. And with my truck sitting here with the emergency brake on, it is a solid foundation for the front of my trailer to sit, instead of depending on jack stands in the front, and I had it on jack stands in the back. So I couldn't take the truck nowhere. And I had to wait on Mama Tank to get back so I could run to the hardware store in town to get bolts to fix my trailer, because I snapped the bolt heads off last night while I was trying to do everything because they were completely rusted. Well, while I was waiting on her, I got a text from another customer. She just flat out told me she was unsatisfied with the service, and she said that she has way too many weeds and she needs the bush trimming done more often. And you know, I'm not going to sit here beg, plead, borrow with nobody. You know, I'm not going to try to change your mind or your opinion or anything. If you drop me, I'm just going to shoot you a simple okay, and I wish you the best, and that's it. I'm very professional about everything I do. I don't make no bones about nothing. But I thought about it after she texted me, and it probably wouldn't have bothered me, except these past 2 weeks has been so bad. She shot me a text. She sent me that text and told me that. And I thought about it. I said, you know, she's on the contract, for one. And for two, the contract is bi-weekly service from March through November for mowing, 23 services. Once a month, December through February. That covers the 23 services. She has ornamental grasses. It includes that one time a year. And it includes trimming her bushes twice during the growing season. And I was up front with her, told her, I said, I'm sending you several packages. I think I sent her 8 different packages to choose from, price points that included different things. And had some that included bed maintenance, some that included just me spraying the beds, some that included me trimming the bushes 4 times a year, I think it was, because she's got some lower pedlums, and weekly mowing, bi-weekly mowing, all of it. And she said that so I texted her back. I said, I said, I'm not trying to be rude or ugly. I said, I'm really just trying to get to the bottom of what's going on here. I said, because for one, I want to do better in my business. If you're not satisfied, I want you to be satisfied, even if you have to drop me and go to the competition. I'm fine with that. And I said, but I don't understand, because you're the one that picked the package that you chose. I didn't force it on you. I gave you 8 different package options to choose from, and this is the one you chose. And I said, but now you're telling me that you want your bushes trimmed more often, and you're wanting me to weed your flower beds, and you're not happy with the cut quality. I said, I told you up front, this is the same lady that gave me a problem about not trimming those bushes the same day that I mow the grass. And now I'm gonna say this: me and my employee went over there the following Friday and trimmed her bushes when she sent me that text, and it took us 2.5 hours, 2 men on a trimmer and cleaning up. It took us 2.5 hours to trim those bushes, and that's how many bushes it was. The first time I cut her grass, I was solo, so it probably would have took me 4 or 5 hours to trim those bushes. But I told her up front, I said, look, bush trimming gets done on Fridays, and I said, that's just the way it is. I said, I cut your grass on Tuesdays, but bush trimming gets done on Fridays. I said, that's the only way I can do it. I said, as a solo operator, I just can't trim bushes the same day I come and mow. I said, that's just what I have to do right now until I can get some help. And she was fine with it. She said, sounds good to me. Well, she also told me that she wanted to keep her grass cut between 3.5 and 4 inches. And I told her, I said, look, the grass is going to look bad at that height. I said, this is Bermuda lawn. It's meant to be cut 2 inches and shorter. I said, I recommend at least going down to 2 inches. I said, yes, you do live on a hill. You do have some irregularities in your lawn, but it's not healthy for your lawn to keep it that high. And evidently, her weed and fert guy has told her the exact same thing. But I was cutting her grass. She's not wanting it bagged. There's no sunlight getting to the ground because the grass is so high and thick. So all of that dead material that's going to the ground is, it's not being dried out, and it's not decomposing as fast as it should, because the grass is too thick for sunlight to get to it. And it's causing fungus, it's causing mold in the yard, it's causing all sorts of problems. I mean, every time you go over there, her yard is soaking wet, and it's because the grass is not evaporating because it's too tall. And it's also causing moss in her yard. But regardless, she wanted to cut that high, so that's what I was doing. Same height every time, 3.5 inches. Well, I said, and also when she selected the package that she wanted, I told her, I said, this package guarantees you the things that say. I said, now, if you want, what I can do is I can go ahead and trim your bushes the first Friday, and then in a month or two, if it needs it trimmed again, if you want me to go ahead and trim them, let me know, and then if they need them trimmed later on, you can still pay for that service separately. I said, but this is 2 bush trimmings, 1 ornamental grass cutting, and 23 lawn mows bi-weekly for the growing season. And she said, well, we're going to go with this one, and we'll just go from there. I said, all right. So when I told her I needed a little more clear explanation, she told me, I told her, I said, you're talking about weeds. I said, I'm assuming that that you're talking about weeds in your bedding areas. I said, because treating weeds, treating lawns is not something that we offer. I said, but the weeds in your turf area are different than the weeds in your bedding areas. I said, I do offer bed maintenance. I said, and that was part of one of the packages that you have to choose from. And I also gave you a breakdown of each individual cost per service if you wanted to just do pay per service on every service I offer. I gave you an option on all of that. And I said, I just don't understand. And she said, I'm not sure what turf area means, and I'm not sure what the bedding area means. She said, sometimes when tradesmen use that craftsman's jargon, it's like Greek to me, which I don't understand. And I've never really cared about the appearance of my lawn, but I do want it of my yard, but I do want it to look good when I get home. And then she told me that you've cut my lawn 5 times, and every one of the 5 times was unsatisfying except for the 5th cut. And I was just praying that it would get better each time, and it never did. And in this last cut, you missed a large area when you was cutting grass. So I told her, I said, look, I said, that area that you're claiming that we missed, I said, that is a raised area in your yard. I said, I cannot go over that with a mower because it's too small of an area. For one, I'll scalp it down. But what I do is I go over it with a weed eater, and no matter what you do, it still looks higher than the rest of the yard because that area is that high. The ground is that high in that spot. I said, if I go any lower, it's going to scalp your yard. And you told me you wanted your yard at 3.5 inches. So that's what we're cutting at. I said, if it's pricing or just a misunderstanding or something like that, I just need you to tell me that. I said, but I need to know, but when you tell me that you're unsatisfied with the service, that leads me to believe that my quality is lacking. And a complaint on quality is something that I have never had in my business. I've never had one single person complain about the quality. I said, but if it's quality, I need to know what it is where we're lacking so I can do better. I said, I'm not mad and there's no hard feelings. I said, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this so I can do better moving forward. I said, but if it's the price, or if somebody came in and underbid me, or if it was a misunderstanding, that's something we need to communicate as well. I said, because you can't have me believing that my quality's bad when nothing is wrong. And she said, well, I think we need to agree to just disagree. I said, okay. I said, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I'm not trying to be ugly. I said, I'm just trying to get some explanation so I can do better in my business moving forward. That's all I'm doing. I said, but I'm not the kind of guy that would do this. I said, but you really need to be careful moving forward in the future. I said, because you agreed to a 12-month contract. I said, yes, there is nothing in pen and paper format, but an agreement via text message or email is considered a legal binding contract, and you are obligated to pay that contract to the end of that contract. I'm not gonna hold you to it. If you want to breach the contract, if you're not happy with the service, I would expect you to change courses. I really wished you would have reached out to me and we could have cleared out some of this misunderstanding first, but if you're not satisfied, you're not satisfied. I'm not going to hold you to the contract, but moving forward, you need to be careful of that because there is a lot of landscapers out there that will hold you to that. And I know for a fact it's a legal binding contract, even though it's not on pen and paper, because I have been informed so by an attorney. And that's the truth. An attorney told me that. I'm not just blowing smoke up her tail. But That's number 4. Lost 4 customers in 3 days. And like I said, man, and not to mention the fact I tore up my trailer. Had to replace that. Or not the trailer, but the axle. Had to replace the axle. And missed out on a day of work because of it. And if it wasn't for everything that had happened in the past 2 weeks, I probably wouldn't have been as upset and concerned about losing this one customer, and it probably wouldn't have bothered me as much. But just everything in this past 2 weeks, man, this past 2 weeks has been rough. But you know what? I have to look at it like this, man. My last job, my full-time job that I was at, I was miserable. I had to be in the bed by 9 o'clock every single night because I had to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I had zero freedom. I was working from sun up to sundown trying to grow my business 7 days a week and working that full-time job too, that piece of trash full-time job, and I was just miserable 24/7, hated life. I was unpleasurable to be around and just miserable. But now there is little things here and there that bother me, get to me, but this beats the hell out of working that full-time job any day of the week, man. So yes, there is a few things that I've got going on, and yes, it is kind of stressful, which I knew that going into it was going to be more stress. And yes, there are things that irritate the hell out of me sometimes, but this beats getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and going in and punching a time clock every day. But I say all that to say this, man. It's been a bad 2 weeks. It really has. I've been through a lot worse in my life. And last summer, I went through an entire summer, just a bad stretch. The whole summer was just bad. Everything that could have happened, happened. And, but you know what? We learn from our mistakes. And with each day, I learned something new about my business. And I learned something new about myself. And I learned something new about people in general. But I'm not going to let this bother me, man. I'm not going to let this get me down. And you have ups and you have downs in business. I learned that in year 1. But I'm still happy. I still have peace of mind. And there's nothing like knowing that I don't have to answer to nobody but myself. Well, look here, man. Just wanted to fill y'all in with what was going on. I've got some huge jobs coming up, and I'm glad I do, because I'm fixing to have to go out and drop $4 grand on the trailer. I'm going to buy another utility trailer. I'm not getting an enclosed trailer. I'm scared to death to spend $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 right now, but I'm getting a new trailer, and there ain't nowhere to go but up, man. So we're gonna wake up in the morning. It's a new day. We're gonna take care of some personal things we got to get done out of town, and my employee will be back first thing Monday morning. We're gonna wake up with a smile on our face, man, and we're gonna get out there and kick tail all day long, and we're gonna make some money. But look here, man, some of you new guys that are out there, just wanted to let you know, it ain't easy. It's not easy. Nobody ever said it was gonna be easy, but you have to know this. Anything that is worth having in life, you're gonna have to bust ass to get, man. You got to work hard for. There's gonna be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Gonna be a lot of stress and a lot of sleepless nights. But you know what? In the end, it's all worth it. I promise you, it's all worth it. Could be worse, man. You could be working 16-hour days, punching a time clock somewhere. Could be working every single doggone holiday of the year. Or even worse than that, you could look like Buster Davis. Just kidding, man. Shout out to you, Buster. But hey, look, man, I'm gonna hop off here. I'm gonna get back inside with the family. We're gonna hang out, drink some sweet tea, gonna watch some TV. I actually kind of want to watch Red Dawn. I don't know if that's on Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever. We're gonna check it out and see what we can find. But look here, man. Like I always say, till the next one, y'all keep cutting that grass and keep making that money. Holla at y'all. Bye.